So I want to take a minute to talk about a topic that's near and dear to all of our hearts. I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, and that is money or funding. So when anything comes up in discussion concerning, we'll say nonprofit organizations, radio clubs, emergency services, anything in that realm, the knee-jerk reaction is that it should all be free. There should not be a charge for any of that. Well, that'd be nice in a utopia, and it looks good on paper, but it doesn't work in the real world. And let me give you an example of this. To get your ticket or your amateur radio license, it may cost you $15 to take the exam, to cover the VE exam, whatever the case might be. Not much. It just takes your time. You may have to pay a few bucks for a study guide or an online course, or you may have gone through ARRL and got your training for free, or maybe you went to a club that didn't charge you anything to train you up to get your ticket, and all that's great. But if you think amateur radio is free, it is not. It can be as expensive as you want it to be. And I'm talking to you HF guys out there with the big rigs and the towers. You know what I'm talking about. But even to get started, okay, I'm looking back in 1990 when I got my ticket while in the Air Force. I did not have enough money at that time to buy anything. I got my novice license, and that's when you had the 5-step license structure. I got my novice license, and I operated under the club and used their equipment to go out on HF, make some QSLs and all that, or QSOs. But when I wanted to step out and I wanted to have a radio of my own, I had to put out some bucks. I mean, even for a handheld, you're looking at a few $100s. If you want to upgrade, and that'll get you, 5 miles, 10 miles, something like that. If you wanted a mobile rig that can put out 25, 50 watts, something along those lines, get you out a little bit more on the distance, let you communicate with a repeater, you're talking several $100s. And then if you step up to HF, or get some home base rigs, you're not just talking about the electronics and the equipment. You're talking about the cabling, the tower, the antenna. Depending on how high it is, you may have to pay someone to come put the tower up and put your antenna on top of it. So you can spend as much money as you want to. So to say that amateur radio is a free hobby, that's kind of nonsense. I'll just be kind of brash about that. Now, the reason I can be bold in those statements is I'm not a novice anymore. I've been a ham radio operator for 35 years, and I've talked to a lot of other operators. Some of them have spent literally tens of thousands of dollars on their ham shack. And then you've got someone that's a newbie coming in that trying to save enough money just for a handheld is difficult enough, and then you're limited because of the range of it and all that, so it can be kind of a downfall. So the MRS service that I'm proposing, there is cost, but what I'm trying to do is leverage two areas. One is trying to make a business model where you're not having to put up a lot of money up front for your equipment that you're going to be using, okay? So what I've kind of come back to and decided on right now, and I ask for your arguments and to debate me so I know that I'm maybe approaching this correctly or incorrectly. But what I'm looking to do is a subscription model, because there's going to be some other things that we need to be making available through website or social media or whatever, video production, paperwork, and even if it's not on paper, you still have to pay for it to be produced, that we're going to make available to the members coming in. So that's going to take some money to cover that equipment and all that, to ship it to you and all that. But I wanted to put it at a price point that's digestible, something that is easy to make a decision on. And what I came to was $20 a month. So at $20 a month with a 1-year commitment, that would cover the equipment, the shipping it to you, the service for the year, and any overhead that I have to absorb to manage the network or do whatever I need to do. So with that, we want to also give a discount where if you can pay up front, now again, this is per member pricing, if you can pay up front $200, you would be saving $40 for the year, and you'd get the same benefits. So try to give a financial discount if at all available. Now, a caveat or a stipulation with this is, or two of them, is one, it's a 1-year commitment, because $20 is not going to pay for the radio, guaranteed. 6 months of that's not going to pay for the radio. So I need a 1-year commitment, and then I'm willing to step out and help you with that. The other thing is, you will not own the radio. The MRS will actually own the radio, and you're paying for a subscription, and we're just going to deliver the radio to you for use. Now this covers two things. One, it takes us in Louisiana, it takes us out of the sales tax situation, because we're not selling a piece of equipment. We are selling a subscription where we don't have to worry about the taxing and all of that. Excuse me just a minute, I have to take an exit here. Like I said, making the best of my road time. But we still retain ownership of the equipment. So we bypass the taxing situation, or at least we hope to anyway. It also allows you that when you complete those 1-year commitments, if by chance the radio is damaged, then what you can do is ship it back to us, because it's ours. You ship it back to us, and we send you a new radio. No questions asked. You send it to us, we ship you a new radio. So the subscription, the ongoing subscription with the 12-month commitment, keeps it so low, the price so low, that anyone can participate. It's really not, I think it's a game changer financially, honestly, to get someone in at some level of participation in radio operation at wherever their entry point is, that they can get them involved. So I'm hoping that will be a game changer in and of itself. The other aspect of it from the money standpoint is, I know there's a place for government. I totally understand that, and I also understand that there's a place for nonprofit organizations. But I also understand, because I've been a part of many nonprofit organizations, that when you take on that status and you try to make that a benefit for you, you actually limit yourself, because now you have to answer to the government. And I really just don't want to go down that road. I really don't. I think it gives us more opportunity and leverage for me to operate as a for-profit entity, and then I don't have to answer to the government. I can do what I want to do within legal limitations, and then I can deal with you how I see fit. And when I say you, I mean the member. So I can make a lot of decisions that I wouldn't have to go to a board for, or any of that kind of stuff. We can make decisions on the fly if need be. But it also gives me a unique opportunity in funding, and when I mean in not funding from a standpoint of government funding, but funding from a standpoint of private entity support. You all know that when tragedy strikes, and as of today, we've had major flooding across the U.S. that have claimed hundreds of lives. We've got natural disasters, wildfires that have displaced people. We've got volcanoes erupting now. Who knows what that's going to do? And we've got a lot of opportunity to help people. And the fact of the matter is that private industry wants to help people. And how do you know this? Because private corporations will get together and they will donate not just the products and services that they offer in truckloads or whatever they can do for assistance, but they will donate money as well. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to leverage for-profit corporations and entities and convince them, present it in such a way that they understand that not only can they take a reactive stance in assisting people when tragedy strikes or disaster strikes, but they can take a proactive stance in disaster preparedness. And that's where you and I come in. And I think that's where MRS comes into play here, because what I want to do is have the opportunity to talk with these business leaders and explain to them by presenting an advertising package, multi-level advertising package, that they're going to get a return on their money because we're going to promote them as supporters of our organizations, whether it be ham radio clubs or Aries clubs or whatever the case might be. But the money they donate, they will get a return through advertising, but they will also be proactively supporting disaster preparedness, which they want to do anyway. It's a big attaboy. It's a big public relations thing. And I know, working with a multi-million-dollar company, that public relations is very critical to for private businesses. And I think you can be honest, public relations for nonprofits or government entities only becomes important when there's an issue. when there's something that comes up that is controversial, that's when public PR, public relations, becomes critical. But for private companies, for profit companies, that is, public relations is always on the forefront because of their branding and their image and that kind of thing. So what I'd like to do is I want to marry that concept with our emergency response groups. Now, why I say that is, through MRS, we're going to have the ability to bring in other groups that are not emergency response groups. It may be just for casual radio clubs or community clubs, or who knows who wants to use radios. We can do that. But for emergency preparedness and response teams such as Aries, Skywarn, etc., then I would like to funnel and direct the monies that are donated and contributed by the for-profit entities to these teams. Not in the form of monetary contribution to the team, but to pay for the subscriptions through MRS. So we're going to present, I guess I am going to present these companies with an opportunity to say, hey, this Aries club, this ham club, this Skywarn club, they have 10 members and they need X number of dollars to cover these 10 members for the year. Would you be interested in making a financial contribution to MRS where we can cover that equipment and those subscriptions? So that is an offset. That's a cost offset. And we can be accountable with that money because MRS owns the equipment. We're accountable for that equipment. We're simply providing that equipment through subscription to the individuals and the radio operators that are going to participate. So we're accountable to the company that's buying the advertising package to advertise and help them brand out their company. and then we can account for the equipment that they purchased. That's kind of it in a nutshell, even though that's like a 15-minute nutshell. But hopefully that gives you some insight into what we're trying, what I'm trying to accomplish. And hopefully it takes the stress off of you and your team and trying to think through, well, how are we going to cover these costs? We really want to participate, but we really need the radios, but we have to cover the subscription cost because all that's real world. Well, let us work with you. Let me work with you and your organization to contact and reach out to the companies and businesses that are in your area that pay for advertising anyway, billboards, advertisement, radio, television, whatever the case might be, and convince them to redirect their advertising dollars to cover your expenses or your cost. So it's a hands-off approach. We just need the referral, if you will, and the authorization to kind of speak on your behalf, so I can reach out to the businesses, tell them what's going on, how the system works, and then we'll take it from there, and then we'll just allow that to cover the costs of that equipment and subscription, get it to you're up and operational. So that's basically it. Now the details of how that would work out in your particular location and the opportunities or challenges that we have in soliciting businesses in your area, we can talk that out, we can work it out. But I can't help you if you don't let me know. And I'm sorry about all the jostling around here, I'm kind of on a bumpy road. But reach out to us, get involved, go to our website, go to my website, www.wb5vdg, that's Whiskey Bravo 5, Victor Delta Golf.com. Get the details on the program. Come join us on our Facebook group and tell me that you're interested so I can help you and we can talk it out and we can get a game plan together. So anyway, no, that was a lengthy conversation there, but money normally is. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. 73.